Brought to you by SAP. SAP helps companies run like never before. Learn more by visiting us online.
As one of the largest research, development and innovation organizations in Africa, the CSIR is serious about impact and see innovation as a cornerstone of this. One of the ways they achieve this impact is through technology transfers, transferring innovations developed at the CSIR to those who can realize value from them by making them available to the broader market.
Our main focus in terms of our technology transfer activity is not to make as much money as possible, but actually to transfer as many technologies as possible. Because a lot of technologies can actually have a big impact, but not necessarily make us a lot of money. So if we were only focusing on how much money we can make from that, we would actually not, be achieving our mandate and having the impact that we can. So we actually try and help as many technologies in the organization as we can, and we try and train as many people as possible in terms of thinking more from a commercial perspective and from a market perspective to try and get as many technologies out there as possible.
This presents an opportunity to improve the country's industrial and commercial competitiveness and enhance quality of life at the same time. The CSIR grants permission for their intellectual property to be licensed for a specific purpose, which the licensee can develop further. While the CSIR retains ownership of the idea, many of the licensees come from within their ranks and often were instrumental in the concept's development.
Typically the attributes that you need to start a new business from, a very important one is that it must be a platform technology. You can't start a company with a single product, and especially also when it's incremental innovation or incremental improvements versus technology that's already out there. You would rather put it in an existing business that's well positioned to commercialize it or to exploit it or to sell the product. But when it's a completely new technology, or there's a radical improvement in the technology and there's nobody really that's well positioned to commercialize it, that's when you go into the startup mode. And this is one of those technologies. And what was also really great is that there was a whole team of people that had that perspective and vision as well, that wanted to turn this thing into a real business and have some real impact.
Resin Biosciences is a next-generation biotools company and the latest CSIR spin-off. Thanks to the transfer, research group leader Justin Jordan now becomes a CEO.
Resin's a polymer microsphere technology. What that means is it's tiny beads that people use for different applications like diagnostics, so diagnosing disease, or we use it in life sciences as reagents. So we use it in the lab as a routine thing for conducting science or doing research and development. So obviously we use the technologies ourselves, so we know exactly what the current technologies can do, and then we actually engineer the technology to make sure that we get around the limitations of what is actually out there. So we're in quite a strong position being in the field and then trying to commercialize that type of technology.
Signing that agreement is probably at the very early stages of that journey, and we need to continue that support to make sure that we give that company the best chance of success that we can. So there's a lot of things that we do. One of them is, for example, we have a program called Entrepreneur in Residence. We bring in very experienced serial entrepreneurs, and we actually pay them as consultants to serve as mentors to the CEOs and to the young entrepreneurs that go into these businesses.
Scientists, everything seems logical, and business, everything seems illogical. It doesn't seem like there's actually any reason why people do what they do in business. But besides for that, I think it's got its own challenges. Nothing that's this far has been insurmountable. So I think we definitely are a good team.
If you look at the situation in the United States at the moment, they've got an act called the Bayh-Dole Act that was implemented in 1980 that gave universities the ownership of their own intellectual property and patents that they developed, and the right and the power to commercialize it themselves. And if you look at a study of the impact of the Bayh-Dole Act and the outcome of that in the US economy, they say that it's the main growth engine of that economy. And I think we need to realize that in the knowledge economy we need to start doing more of the similar sort of thing, and I think the CSR from that perspective has a very important role and a big responsibility actually to play that role in this country.